Hey there, Stormtroopers. Bryant here, and today I am bringing you what you asked for, more Twiddlestorm content. Last week I made a video on Giftstorm versus Twiddlestorm, and the feedback was just delightful. It was so positive, and everyone seemed to love it. So if you watched it, thank you so much. The video performed fairly well, and I appreciate that. But most of you just said, give me more Twiddlestorm content. That original video that I did just wasn't enough. So if you're interested in watching that first video, go check that out. In that video, I talk about how that deck works, and I'll cover a little bit of that today, but that video was more in depth than what I'll be doing today. So, yeah, in general, I do think Twiddlestorm is faster than Giftstorm, and honestly, I enjoy playing it more. I think it's a better deck, and yeah, hopefully we crush today. So, how Twiddlestorm works is we're looking to put Lotus Field into play and then use Dreamscript and Twiddle plus Psychic Puppetry with Arcane spells to untap Lotus Field. Puppetry plus Ideas or Peer or Reach makes Lotus Field break even. With Reach, you actually gain a mana, which helps you cast Serum Visions and Sleight of Hand for free. Yeah, so once again, if you're interested in more Twiddlestorm content, go check out that original video. That's what I'm going to say about this one. But for now, I'm going to talk about the changes between last video and this video. So the first video, I believe I played 20 lands, and I flooded out quite a bit. That is one thing that happened throughout the video, is I drew too many lands, especially on the combo turn, and sometimes in the setup. So the thing about this deck is every land after Lotus Field is a dead draw. Like, it's essentially a mulligan. So you don't really want to play too many lands, which is why we're running so many thinners. And fetch lands really help this deck because you're drawing less lands on your combo turn with Ideas Unbound, and that actually matters quite a bit. And sometimes you just need to shuffle because, like, you'll peer after seeing double ideas, and then you want to shuffle that ideas back into the deck. So fetch lands are just remarkable in this deck. Yeah. So they're specifically or especially good. Words are very difficult. Bear with me. With Underworld Breach, which we're actually running 2 of today. One thing I've done with this deck is I started with a very stock list, and then since then I've changed it. So I went from 20 lands down to 19. I added in a 4th Twiddle. That was the first change I made. After that, I added an ad nauseum into the board after some feedback on that first video, and I've been really happy with the ad nauseum. Now we're going to 2 Underworld Breach. And that changes because Underworld Breach allows you to start comboing with less initial mana, which is something I've noticed. Like, I turn 3 a lot with this deck, and part of that is Underworld Breach, just because it's so easy to cast with mana floating. Past in Flames, you need 5 mana floating. Breach, you need 1 mana floating into a Twiddle effect, which is just really, really great. Yeah. And then I've cut the Echoing Truth for Repeal. It's just, Repeal's a live draw on the combo turn where Echoing Truth isn't. And I think whoever initially designed this deck, I'm not sure who it was, sort of was living in this fantasy land where you can activate 3 Wishclaw Talismans or 4 Wishclaw Talismans on your combo turn, and then you'll search for Echoing Truth and bounce them all, and then all use them again, some sort of fantasy world. I've played like 60 matches with this deck so far, probably more if I'm being honest, and I've yet to do any sort of Dreamland stuff like that, where I've had Echoing Truth in my hand against control decks going like, why am I playing this card? So at least Repeal can cycle. It can replace itself. It's not always dead. Against Prowess, you can bounce a creature on turn 2, replace itself, still maybe have the gas in hand to go off on turn 3. I just think Echoing Truth is a little bit of a pipe dream in the main, so we're running the Repeal instead. Yeah, so those are the main deck changes. And then in the sideboard, Lightning Bolt and Flame Slash are gone. Part of that was they're not very good against Prowess. Prowess runs mutagenic growth and gut shot and all these other things. And boarding Lightning Bolt felt embarrassing. So today I am playing Fatal Push, which is another reason to run fetch lands. So we're really, really leaning into the fetch lands in this list. We're running Underworld Breach, we're running Fatal Push, and they thin. The importance of fetch lands is just really high in this fetch build. So a number of you commented on budget builds. This is going to be tough because this list is really leaning into maximizing the potential of the deck. Like, this deck is getting really, really well tuned, and non-fetch lanes is going to be a little bit difficult. So just a heads up. But Fatal Push you know, it answers those prowess creatures cleanly. It doesn't care about their power toughness. We want to be searching for Watery Grave anyway for Wishclaw Talisman, so you're not splitting your mana. You're not getting red for your removal and black for your tutoring. It just does them all very nicely. Um, and I did think about running Dark Slick Shores, but the problem is the fetch lands are just so crucial for Breach and Push, where I don't think you can really afford to run Dark Slick Shores. You might be able to run like one over the third island. I don't think third island is necessary. In fact, it could be another fetch land, or it could be Dark Slick Shores. You could also choose not to run Repeal main deck, and that could be another Dark Slick Shores, giving you 4 black sources. But Fatal Push, Wishclaw, they both work off Watery Grave, which is just really nice. And then circling back to Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam was not in the first video. It was a suggestion by a YouTube commenter, so thank you, YouTube commenter, for pointing that out. And we need to make a few adjustments in order to play it. Mystical Dispute doesn't work if you're going to run Ad Nauseam, so we're instead running Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce. Fluster is a wonderful Wishclaw target on your combo turn, helps you beat Force of Negation and a bunch of other things. So really big fan of Fluster, and to a lesser extent Spell Pierce. Pierce is just versatile. It's Chalice and a bunch of other things, so it does help against like Eldrazi and decks like that. Echoing Truth, it's just versatile. It's not named Repeal, so Meddling Mage and stuff doesn't stop it. I'd still run that over a different bounce spell. And then a Braid. Braid's probably the best removal against Heliod Company because it answers Damping Sphere and a bunch of their creatures, so I wouldn't get rid of the Abrades. And then, as I said in my Giftstorm versus Twiddlestorm video, Aria, this deck is the best Aria deck in Modern, I think. So we really lean into Aria Flame here. A number of you have messaged me going like, hey, I'm having trouble boarding, and I think part of that is you might be overboarding. I don't really just like board in a Braid or Echoing Truth or Fatal Push just to like answer random things. Like, I don't board in a Braid to answer like random pieces of Graveyard Hate most of the time. I'd rather go around them through. It's just like a philosophy I have. Sometimes I do go. Sometimes you're forced to go through. Like the matchup requires you to go through because like Aria might not be good in that matchup. But in general, try to go around. That's my general philosophy. Like Aria is the best way of doing that. Lean into Aria, and you'll see the results. Like I'm just really happy with how this deck manages to do that. So that's the intro. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to support this content, you can always go to theepicstorm.com/donation deck. Sign up for a donation deck. Select your tier. I'd highly recommend the Epic tier. You get a discount from theepicstorm.com/shop on merchandise. You get to come on here, talk about your combo deck. You get to talk about it in person, card choices, sideboarding, everything you want. So there's multiple tiers for you to select from, even if they aren't the Epic tier. The Super tier still gives you the discount. Yeah, and if you just, want the sweet merchandise and not the donation deck, you're always welcome to go to theepicstorm.com/shop. Summer's just around the corner. Get that pint glass token pack or the sweet Storm 20 baseball tee. Open up that description, join our combo cabal, and don't miss a video. Stay connected. There are great communities. People are loving and willing to help you get better at playing Storm combo. Make sure to check those out. And that's that. So if you're going to enjoy this video, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. And like, comment. Some of you subscribe, but you don't like or comment. I do appreciate the subscriptions, but it also helps if you like and comment. Help me get into that sweet YouTube algorithm. And I hope you find this intro, helpful. I'm going to start round number 1. I'm done talking. I'll see you there. Welcome to round number 1. We're on the draw against Multiverse, and we've opened up a pretty solid hand. We're definitely going to keep this. It's hard to ship away 2 lands, Lotus Field, plus all these delightful Magic the Gathering cards. Godless Shrine. I don't know what that means. Okay, we're just going to start on Evasions here. No need to lose extra life. Honestly, those are both pretty good. Alright, so they're just like a black-white deck. There's a chance our Claw could die. Like Fracture or Vanishing Verse. I forget which one actually removes Wishclaw. Alright, so they're definitely black-white mid-range. Initially, they could have been like 4-color Shadow or something, even without the awkward no shock in the beginning. But yeah, this is just black-white. Interesting that they took Visions there. So we don't need to try for a turn 3. We're not under any pressure. We could go for it, don't get me wrong. But you don't have to. Like, that's one thing that I noticed is a few people message me going like, hey, what does this do? Okay, so it's like a weird meddling mage. Maybe that would be another reason to go for it. Grape Shot. So I lose... Does that count for copies? Nope. Okay. That was a good draw. Okay, we are going to go for it, I think. I mean, we didn't come here to not turn 3 people, right? Let's go get that Psychic Puppetry. And you want to peer before you reach, just in case you end up casting a Serum Visions at some point on the turn. You draw into your scry. Okay, well that was really good. And I think now I'm comfortable burning these because like we're so likely to win. Woo woo! Okay. We might as well, like, we have a bunch of untappers. Let's just keep it going. We can just burn these because these are essentially dead cards. Making sure it's not cast or copy. Like, I don't think I actually need to answer that card. Like, I can. It's just like, do I really need to? Just twiddling. Cast Ideas. Like, I think my favorite thing about this deck is just casting Ideas a bunch. And that's something I learned from playing Paupers. I just love casting Ideas Unbound. We're just ramping up Storm. And why not? We're already here. Might as well enjoy ourselves, right? Oh no, we're putting in Ideas on the bottom. I don't like that. Alright, we're at Storm 21. Just to send a message. Alright, enough joking around. Let's end it. Boom! Woo! Woo. Alright, we've stolen game number 1. This definitely seems like a matchup where Ad Nauseam gains a little bit of value. I expect our opponent to side in Graveyard Hate. And maybe even things like Damping Sphere. So these are pretty much non-cuttables. Like, you don't ever board these out. I do like the idea of bringing in Aria. I don't think Aria is going to be super easy for them to answer. They might have Fracture and stuff like that, but it is the easiest way of beating Graveyard Hate. And you can usually clean pretty swiftly, or kill pretty swiftly with Aria. And then from there, I think you can probably board out Slights. And it's like Echoing Truth or Braid. I'm trying to think about how, like, this is going to play out. I guess Echoing Truth answers, like, if they happen to have, like, random ley lines or something. Because you only have so much room to board in. So right now, our main plan is to go through, and then we have this backup plan of, or going around, and then this is going through. You can't really afford to bring in these two, because, like, what are you boarding out? I've learned from playing leagues that, like, when you board out Wishclaw, your deck gets considerably worse, so you shouldn't really do that. And I understand we're also boarding in a bunch of 3s with this Ad Nauseam. I'm not looking to cast Ad Nauseam and draw 50 cards. It's not realistic. I'm looking at this as more of a value thing. And it's, like, pretty good against discard, because you don't need a lot of resources to win with it. Let's try this out. Like, an end step Ad Nauseam untap win is certainly fine by me. Okay, this hand's pretty good. Okay, so they're going to take our Serum Visions here, and then we are trying to draw land number 2. Ooh, they took Claw. That's interesting. I think the pick was definitely Visions. So next turn we have the choice between casting Reach or Peer. Ideas isn't really on the table. I guess it could change. Yeah, alright, so plan change. We're casting Peer. We want to maximize our mana, which is why. So, like, when we cast Peer, we're going to be looking for, like, a 1-mana cantrip. And then on the following turn, we can cast double cantrip looking for Lotus Field. Opponent thinking here. Okay, no play. And I could fetch for... Alright, I'm just going to let that resolve. I could fetch for Wishclaw, or for Watery Grave for Wishclaw Talisman, but that's shocking ourselves in order to cast this Peer. So I'm not going to do that. And now I can, because I'm not going to cast any spells that matter, really. So that was actually completely fine. Okay, there's land 3 for Aria if we ever draw one. Good draw. Alright, Lotus Field off the top would be amazing. We could have cast Ideas looking for Field right there. That said, if they happen to have more discard spells, that could bite us in the butt, just going down in cards. There goes Ad Nauseam. Which is a reason why we shouldn't have cast Ideas. Okay. You know what? I'm going to cast it. We have some cards to discard. Alright, so I'm going to keep a Twiddle effect. Is that actually better? Yeah. So my main goal right now is get Wishclaw or use Wishclaw Talisman for Lotus, or just draw a field and then a graveyard engine. So either Breach or Past in Flames. And there's mono discard. I will activate Claw, giving it to them. Getting field is high enough value. Ooh. I just want to think this through. So we play field. Full up mana, play Lotus, go down to 1, Breach. Yeah. What do you have? Do we have a surgical? It can't be Rav Trap. We've only put 2 things to the graveyard this turn. Extirpate, sure. It's weird. I don't think Twiddle is actually the card they should have gone after, because we have Dream Scripts still. I probably would have hit Ad Nauseam or Ideas. And if you're at Grip, you actually take 2 cards out of the graveyard instead of just 1. And my plan right now is to just cast Ad Nauseam and draw some cards. 14 life is enough to, you know, see some stuff. We're not going to be casting Aria from the graveyard. Alright, so let's Naz. Keep some blue floating. Alright, so we're going to stop there because we could flip Past in Flames. There's no reason to just kill yourself, so let's Dream Script to start. So, like, being a draw 8 was completely fine. I'm just going to take the Reach. Makes mana. Cast Visions. I would love an Ideas Unbound, thank you. Look at that. Started the hand with no cards, and now here we are. You'll love to see it. Okay. Might as well flash back on ideas, I guess. I mean, I didn't come here to not cast Ideas Unbound. And I drew another Ideas. I guess I should probably cast that. My microphone is covering up that part of the screen where my fat body is covering it up for you. So I can't completely see what I'm clicking on. We should probably win the game now. Just get it out of the way. I should have played one more spell for the even 20. It's like my brand is Storm 20 Grapeshot, and here I am casting 19. Well, we got number 1 over Black-White Disruption. Yeah, I hope you at least enjoyed match number 1. Match number 2 will be coming up in just a second. You're not going to want to go anywhere, because why would you want to miss casting Ideas Unbound? They just sound silly, so stick around. You'll regret it if you leave. Welcome to round number 2. We're facing Danny Memes. We're on the draw. We don't have a way of finding Lotus with this hand. We do have 2 cantrips. We have a Breach. If we find Lotus, this hand's going to go bananas, so I think I'm going to try this. So a lot of people in Pioneer subscribe to this idea that you mulligan to any hand that doesn't have Lotus or a way of finding Lotus. I've never really been one of those people. I don't think that's the best way of going about things, personally. That said, we are facing Titan, and this is a pretty fast matchup. We are going to have to get a little bit lucky to win at this point. I'm probably just going to fire off both these reaches on our next turn, assuming that I don't draw Wishclaw. Yep. Alright, let's get lucky. Probably should have fetched first. That was a mistake on my part. Okay, we're losing this game. This is not a matchup where I could have afforded to keep a hand like I kept. Like against a control deck, this hand would have been fine. Against Titan, definitely not. And both of these land draws are essentially mulligans. Like, yes, we can play Misty next turn, but it's not a land we want to play. Alright, so our opponent has 6 mana here. They should be able to play Titan. Also, it feels like every single time I face this deck, they open on turn 1 Amulet into Dryad. Which is just like what the deck wants to do. It's just like, it's so consistent. Yep. Oh, that's ugly. Not a fan. So now they swing for 10, they go get 2 lands, and then they kill me with Valakut. Yep. So it wouldn't have mattered even if we had a turn 3 here. Being on the draw just wasn't good enough. Quite the hand, though. You have to admit. Like, we were taking like 30 damage this turn. That's a rough estimate. I didn't actually count it. But, yeah, props to them. Alright, so I do like Echoing Truth in this matchup. You can board out Repeal. I don't think that's actually good here. And I don't know if I actually change anything else. Oh, you could board in a Braid to hit, like, the Amulet. But I don't think that's really what you want to be doing. And it doesn't kill Dryad anyway. You can board in Fatal Push to hit Dryad, but it doesn't hit much else. So I think I'm just going to make that one swap Repeal for Echoing Truth. Hit Submit. Well, if we hit land number 2 on turn 2, we're definitely winning on turn 3. Let's risk it. Like, this hand definitely wins on turn 3. Assuming that we can hit the land on 2. So we're not going to use the fetch land because we don't want to take a land out of the deck. Hell yeah! Boom! Always had it 100% of the time. That's what we call skill magic, in case you missed it. Is it hard not always opening on Amulet? I complained in game 1 and that it didn't happen in game 2, so the lesson learned here is always complain. Let's jam. Okay, double land was not ideal. Let's cast Slight. Keeping in the back of my head that we're probably going to want to get Breach at some point. Alright, that was really good. No point in casting Serum Visions before Pier because you just put your Scries on the bottom. Love an Ideas Unbound, thank you. But this is a point where casting Visions, where it's decent. So now we can bottom these lands. And we can cast another Visions. Oh, I don't need to go get Breach anymore. Looks like we didn't even need Wishclaw, jeez. Alright, so I guess I probably shouldn't miss Storm 20 Group Shot this game. Alright. Danny memes, I have memes too. Let's go. Alright. We're off to the races. I'm just going to leave it as is. You could board out a Breach for an Andaz to play around like Bajuka Bog, but I don't think that's what we want to do, and this hand's pretty solid. Now we turn one Amulet. That was a good draw. Alright, so we want to draw Puppetry off this Visions. Do we want the Piff? It's a really good question. I think the answer is yes. So right now this Wishclaw is representing Psychic Puppetry because Puppetry makes mana with these two. So we would, next turn, assuming that everything goes right for us, play Lotus Field, float mana, Twiddle the field, search up Pup, and try to do some good stuff after that. Alright, so... Psychic Puppetry. Alright, Breach was a decent draw. Didn't like drawing another land there. Okay, so that was alright because it essentially just makes him mana. So I can play Breach, Twiddle. I think that's probably the best line here. I could also burn the Puppetry to cast Past in Flames. Is that better due to the amount of cards we have in the graveyard? So I wouldn't get to splice anything is the issue. That said, if we play Breach, 3 cards, 6 cards. So we could cast like 3 spells. So it'd be Twiddle, Ideas, and then maybe another Twiddle. But I guess the Twiddle would be free. Alright, I'm gonna go for Breach. Or the Ideas would be free. I said Twiddle, but I meant Ideas. It's a tough call. That was really good. Thank you, Duck. So I can cast another Ideas here. Is that what I want to do? I think I want to convert that red mana into blue mana with this Pier. Okay, that's actually just game right there. But I'm going to cast a few more spells, just play around like a random surgical extraction. Like, in theory, if our opponent had surgical, they probably would have had Ideas by now. But there's no reason to not play around the possible thing that blows you out. It's just laziness for the most part. Like I said, I'm having a little bit of difficulty clicking over there because my mic is blocking it. Guess this. Alright, and then Storm 20 Grape Shot. Woot woot. 2-0! Well, beautiful turn 3 victories. What more could you ask for? Yeah, we're just going to keep at it. 2-0, more matches to come. We are on the play for match number 3. Sheffield deck wins. I hope that their hero is Gary. We're on the play. And obviously we're keeping this. This hand's great. We are going to fetch on turn 1. Get that land out of our deck. Opponent taking a mulligan. Fun fact, Gary Sheffield retired as a Metropolitan. Great career as a Met. Had like 60 at-bats, I think. Loved being a Met. Certainly happy to be there. That is your Mets trivia for the day. Alright, we could definitely use some action spells. We have the Lotus Field. We have the Twiddle. I would take a Puppetry, because Puppetry makes these plus mana. But, well, they're on a control deck, so speed doesn't really matter that much. Another land. It's a little disappointing. Flooding out a little bit. I'm going to float mana. Because nothing matters. We're going to have to set up a win through a Force of Negation at some point. So you could play Steam Vents, but then you're helping them fix their mana. And I'm just going to remove an island from the deck. We still have one to get with the Field of Ruin. Yeah, now we help them fix their mana here. That said, we do get to remove lands from the deck, so I do enjoy that. So I think we just have one Watery Grave left in the deck as a fetchable. Interesting. So they're feeling pretty confident. So they probably have Spell Snare plus Force up, if I had to guess. See if my prediction's correct. No. Another Pier. Weird that they played the land too before the Jace. And I say that because by doing so you can't fetch after. This also might just be for path. Like, they might not have a Spell Snare. So the question is, like, do I burn Twiddle on this? And I think the answer is actually no. So they definitely have a Force of Negation. We're going to have to like make them use it at some point this turn. And maybe I should have let off on Serum Visions. But I have a feeling that this is going to get countered, and it did. So if I Twiddle untap this, it gives us 4 mana, 5 mana. We need 6 mana for Breach. So if I burn Puppetry, I can Breach. Is this our window? Because, like, I'm not sure what else. Like, this doesn't do a whole lot, I guess, is my concern. But it does feel like maybe I'm supposed to try to win here. Sorry, I just want to really think through this. So I'd be playing Watery Grave. Let's say we use Watery Grave plus an Island Wishclaw. We Twiddle. Alright, I'm just going to go for it. Do you have double Force of Negation? Is that what this is? Okay, so step 1. Remove 3 lands. I'm going to cast this Visions. Because if I hit Puppetry, well, that was awful. So I guess no matter what, we need to cast Twiddle again. No matter what avenue we take. Probably not casting 2 Reaches, so we can exile one of those. Alright, so now I can Peer, and then I'd have 2 mana floating. So I think I'm actually supposed to just like cast Sleight of Hand and hope to hit like a Puppetry. Alright, we're getting really low on resources, so I think I'm supposed to Peer looking for ideas. So I hit the ideas. Now we need to get a little bit lucky. Alright. Alright, we need 4 more Storm. I'm just trying to think through my options here. So we know that Grape Shot's on the bottom of the deck. So something I could do here, and I don't know if I have enough cards to do this, is I could bounce the Claw floating 2 mana. And then that could eventually search. I don't hate it. Perfect. This is a cool one. For another Storm 20 Grape Shot. I feel like I earned this one. Like, this definitely felt like an earned win to me. Wow. This is where the cast like Healing Salve and embarrass me. Sweet. Alright, so we definitely want these. And Aria is a card you could sideboard in. I don't think it's the worst. That said, these decks usually have Aether Gust in it. And Aether Gust is pretty good against us, but on top of Aether Gust, they have usually 3 and 5 mana to Fairy. I just don't know how reliable Aria actually is. And Ad Nauseam does a good job of playing around Graveyard Hate. I don't really like Repeal, so I'm actually fine with boarding that out. We can bring in 1 Aria there. I typically side out Slights. And then like we can shave a Puppetry for another Aria. So like we could do this. Because you really only need 1 pup. Let's try this out. I don't have the board map completely done yet, for what it's worth. Like, I'm still like modifying the deck. Once I have the deck closer to perfect, I could get closer and closer to perfect board mapping. This seems okay. We don't have Lotus or a way of finding Lotus, but the rest of it's decent. It says that they have Opt. Yep. And I'm just not going to give them targets for their Field of Ruin. Because if you do that, they can mess you up when you go to... I guess never mind. That's not exactly true. Ignore me. Alright, Omen of the Seas. Maybe I should just go get land for them to destroy. I don't know. Like, it looks like they're actually color screwed a little bit, so maybe I don't want to do that. Yeah, they're color screwed. Sure. Alright, so ad nauseum is our game plan. That are Aria. So this Pass in Flames is essentially a dead card at this point. We have 2 dead cards in our deck, and we happen to draw one of them. Alright, so this is mattering less and less now. Now we go get our last island. They're just thinning for us. They're very, very generous. Okay. There we go. So if we're going to sacrifice the lands, we might as well cast a cantrip or 2 first. Alright, I'm going to play Claw instead of showing them Lotus. I'm going to let that go. Like, I don't think that Claw actually matters that much. Like, all it does is search for Puppetry. I'd rather protect our combo on the combo turn. No need to force our way through. We can just pass. And eventually, next turn, maybe I should have sacked Water Reeve there. That might have been a play mistake on my part. Because if we get double Lotus Field going, and if we have 2 pups, we actually generate a bunch of mana with each Arcane spell. Alright, so they're telling us that they have Force Negation, and they don't think we're going to win. So I think next turn is actually our go turn. And I'm not going to start on Lotus Field, because if we draw a land off Ideas and we need that mana, it would be better. Alright, so we drew both dead cards. Alright. Ideas. Whoops. That turns out it can't cast that spell. Okay. So this is actually a difficult choice because if I tap Lotus Field for red, I can Grape Shot, but if I reach, I can't cast this Grape Shot. And this Grape Shot's actually a bunch of damage right now. Come on, Twiddle effect. Or untapped land. Wrong untapped land. So if I Grape Shot right here, that could be a cool trick. So Grape Shot would be Storm 8. They would take 13. And then I fluster my own fluster. That can be lethal. Boom! I feel like I played that one pretty well. Yeah, that was a sweet match. We're 3 out. Don't go anywhere. This deck's a blast. Round number 4. We're on the play once again. Sure. Why not? I mean, I don't love that many lands, but I don't think we're supposed to ship this. I don't love seeing that. So I guess we get the free scry with this Scalding Tarn. I want a Puppetry, so I'm not gonna shuffle. We have Repeal for Eidolon too, which is kind of nice. Dreamscript, I want that. It's one way to get fetch lands to the graveyard. Sort of banking on the fact that my opponent can't kill me. So they can put me to 10. And then 3/1 mana burn spells would only put me to 1. There's Eidolon. That's kind of a pain in the ass. Serum Visions. So we're supposed to try to go for it here. It's a little bit risky, but come on, deck, be good to me. It's technically fine, but not great. Okay, that's decent. I think I'm actually supposed to take the Reach because it makes mana. So I can cast Serum Visions, Scry, and then Reach. So that way the Visions was free the whole time. Alright, Grip was decent, and I like both of these. Okay, so we're up this from 8. We're halfway there. Underworld Breach or Piff off the sleight of hand would win. I'll take an Ideas Unbound. It's a redraw. Times 3. That'll do, Peg. That'll do. I guess I can just cast more spells. Why not? Remove some lands from the game. Triple land. Gross. Alright, we only need a few more spells. Alright. This will do. They're at 16. Woot woot! Got a little bit lucky there, I feel like. We also made a few good decisions, like not fetching. I didn't F6 there because if for some reason something weird happened, I could still cast spells. I didn't have any mana floating. With mana floating, it stops you. With no mana floating, you just skip your turn. Alright, so I definitely want these Fatal Pushes. And I think I want Aria. These help us avoid the graveyard, so if they have or if they have Rest in Peace, we can win with Aria. Ad Nauseam is not a card we want to board in. I think we're supposed to board out Slights. You can't afford to board out Puppetry here because you need to stay fast, and those help you stay quick. Excuse me. Alright. And, like, this could be a Spell Pierce matchup, but, like, what are you boarding out? That's one of the things. Like, there's a bunch of cards in the sideboard for this deck that could come in for a variety of matchups. It's just what are you expecting and what are you willing to take out / put in? Because like I could board in a Braid, I could board in Spell Pierce, I could board in Fluster. You could keep. In fact, I could see this entire sideboard being in the main deck, other than this ad nauseum. So like in theory, all of these cards are fine in the matchup, but it's a give and take, and you shouldn't over sideboard. That's the big thing. Is like over sideboarding is one of the easiest ways to lose with this deck. You have to keep your deck being a fine-tuned engine, which is why we're only sideboarding in a little bit at a time. Like the Abrades, those pretty much only come in against Heliod Company for Sphere. I don't board them in that often. These are for control matchups. While they do counter lightning bolts and stuff, it's just not what the matchup's about. And you have to evaluate cards on how the opponent's interacting with you rather than general general cards in the matchup. Because like, yeah, I can counter a lightning bolt, but do I care about lightning bolt? Not really. Solid hand. We're gonna keep this. And there's old Swifty. So I could shock and kill the Swift Spear. In my mind, this Fatal Push is mostly for Eidolon. Okay, so they didn't have Eidolon on 2. That's really good. Wow. We might have a turn 3. We're going to have a turn 3 with creature removal. Get out of here. All right, let's do it. All right, so I know that I want the Pier on top. And I'll gladly take both of these cards. And we're going to win this. It's pretty hard to mess up when we're this far ahead. Gladly take another Pier. Just, it's free Storm. You get to just dig for the best cards in your deck. It's close. I almost took the Dream Script there. But we have plenty of mana. Perfects. So this is +1 mana and Storm. I'll just keep that. So we're up to Storm 13. I'm wondering if I can just avoid the graveyard entirely. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Alright, so I can hold priority. And then with double pup, this is a kind of a cool trick. You can untap the claw. And now let's activate claw again. We get to search up 2 cards. So we'll get Ideas Unbound and Grape Shot. Alright, so that's spell number 18. Turn 3. Woot woot. You don't care about Lightning Bolt either, so your Barals don't die, your Goblin Electromancers don't die. The only thing that dies is your opponent. 4-0! How could you want to leave this video? Stick around for round number 5. I'm sure we're going to get the 5-0. That's false bravado. I don't know. We could possibly lose. But this deck is sweet. You're not going to want to miss round number 5. Don't go anywhere. The final round. Let's get it. We're on the draw. We have a way of finding Lotus. We have Pup. We have a cantrip. Like, this hand's great. Definitely keeping. Not going to burn Reach on turn 1 because it makes a mana on our 3rd turn. It looks like we're actually facing burn again. It's not exactly the matchup I wanted. Not ideal. Oh, if they miss their second land drop, we'll be okay. Alright. Come on. Don't do that to me. So we're going to 10. Getting a little bit hairy. So we're dead next turn to another. So what I can do is I can actually reach, tap this in their upkeep or their land, but if they have a bolt, we're dead. So the problem is that we don't actually have a way of twiddling Lotus. Let's make them commit, and then we can tap it in their beak. Okay, well, that sucks. We're dead. Being on the draw was just not good enough. So we're dead to 2 1-mana burn spells, Eidolon, a number of things. Yeah, unfortunately, just being on the draw, we weren't able to get game number 1. And we have the answer for Eidolon, it's just not good enough. We can go get Lotus. Let me think about this. We can go get Lotus, float a blue. We would go to 1. I'm just going to do it to see what I can make work. I don't think we're going to be able to win this, but I just want to see. Yeah, we can't win. So what I'll do here is reach. So we go to 3 here. And we can repeal the Eidolon, but the 1 extra mana, we can't do anything else. We don't have a Twiddle. We can't actually do anything. So it just doesn't matter. Alright, on the Dragon's Burn. I believe this is what we did last round. Let's do it. Submit it. And once again, if you want to support this content, you can go to theepicstorm.com/donation decks. Sign up for a donation deck. Let me play your combo deck here on this YouTube channel. All you have to do is submit your tier, attach your deck list, and all that good stuff. You can also go to theepicstorm.com/shop. Pick up a variety of different things there. Support this content directly. That's how you do that. All right, game number 2. We're on the play this time. I'm going to try this just because if we find Lotus, this hand has literally everything we need. Honestly, on turn 2, I might just cast Ideas. We have to be quick in order to win this. And this gives us 3 additional looks at finding a Lotus. We have an extra land we can discard because this is negative card advantage. It's just like a really big careful study. Does that change things? I think the answer is yes. Okay. Pretty close to death here. We're going to 11 and we just have to pray that we get to untap. Not looking good for the home team. So they have 3, so that's 8. They just need 2 1-mana burn spells to do it. Okay, that should probably do it as well. Fatal Push. Start on this, because this gives us... Actually, do we want to start on... It doesn't matter, we can't win. So I think how we would realistically win this is if I draw Lotus and Fatal Push off this Ideas. Well, we drew Lotus, but it's just not going to be good enough. So if we have 1 more life, I could peer Yeah, unfortunately we're just dead. It doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to concede. We still went 4-1, which is pretty good. Can't be too upset about that. 4-1 was, solid. Burn's a tough matchup. We faced it back-to-back in the final rounds. We were on the draw for game 1, which was a big deal. In game 2, their draw was good. Our draw was good. We just didn't get there. Can't be too upset over that. I think that this list performed very well. I don't see myself changing this at all. So let me know what you think. Would you make any changes? Tell me. Am I wrong? Should I be adjusting for something else? Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if it was helpful. And that's all I have to say. So I hope you have a great day. Keep storming. And cast many, many grape shots. Hey, Bryant here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.